Welcome back. Next step is to do the simulation, the proper simulation for the sails. So for that, we need to do a couple of things. The first thing is that we need to blast this from the render of the boat. So in here, we need to blast the mainsail. And also the Genoa. Okay, so these two sails we blast off because that's going to be actually from the simulated area. Let's create this simulation here. Okay, so I'm going to grab from here, and if you press Alt, you give it like a point, and I'm going to do a blast. For this, we need to blast. Let's split, let's do a simulation for this one, that is the mainsail, and later we can do a simulation for also the Genoa. What I'm going to do here with this blast is that I'm going to just select not only the sail, but the geometry that the sail attaches to. And let's do this. Is delete non selected. Let me select. So what we need for this one is the mainsail. We also need the boom. Yeah. We need the mast and we don't actually need the mast. I think we have just the track of the sail, so we can just get like the sail track. I guess is sail track is this little geometry here. You see where the sail is attached to. It's like in a sailboat, the sail just can slide through this with some attachments that I don't actually model the individual attachments, but the track. And also we have like another rope that is attached here. So this is the Adrisa main. Let me see. I think it's Adrisa main. Yeah, is this cable. Okay, we have everything that we need for that, and let me split. Let's create like a, so we just start organized already. So I want to do like this, and maybe we can just do like under here, and I'm going to do like that for the whole chain. Yeah. Let me sim. Medium. Hide background. All right, just to be organized. So now we need to split, because in one side we're going to have like the sail that's going to be a simulation in Vellum. The other geometry we're going to use to be that the part that the sail attaches to. So let's select, and in this one we only want to select the mainsail. So it's outputting this that we're going to remesh. So let me do a remesh. Remesh, and the remesh we're going to do some adaptivity. Actually, I think there is an issue with that. I think the sail that we have might be the fixed sail. I think so. Let me just see the sail itself, if there is thickness to it. Yeah, I think so. It looked like we have like some thickness to the sail, so let me go back. Maybe let me just see what I have here. Allow edging of contents. Let's dive inside. And cockpit. Hardware. Yeah, we have a Vellum post process in the Genoa in the main. I want to remove that. We don't need that thickness for now. It's just to make it like when you use the Vellum post process, you can extrude by thickness. We can do this later, and we might not even need to. So now you see the sail has like this, so it's all good, and the render part doesn't affect because the deletions were never on the number of points, because when you do like a thickness, you alter the number of points, and if you delete based on that, it won't work. But in this case, we are deleting by like a proper shop material path string, so it just like allow us to not affect any of the deletions, any of the post processing that we did. But what help us is that now our sail is thin, and then the remesh is going to work properly. The numbers here, instead of doing uniform, we can do adaptive. That means that like some areas that has like more variation in the geometry get like more subdivided and some less. So I just want to increase that to maybe something like that. So it just even out a little bit more. And the geometry here, it affects the constraints and how the deformation of the sail is. So in this area, we want like this to have like more bigger movement, and the flatness, like the part that just like goes like more like a flag, that it's more in these areas. That's how the sail normally works. So it's more a little bit more precise to do adaptive. So yeah. Next, we're going to get like a vellum constraint cloth. Vellum. If you just do like vellum cloth, it's going to allow us to just do like some constraint for the cloth. This is not a very in-depth vellum tutorial, so yeah, I'm just going to do like some really basic stuff here, so we can just get like the sails moving and everything. So we leave this as default, and also this, and then in here we don't need to pin the animation. We're going to use another type of constraint that's attached to geometry constraint, and it's all good. I'm going to decrease the dumping ratio a little bit, so it just like dumps it like it just like affects, if you hover it, you say like the stiff constraint tend to vibrate or jitter, and the dumping by this bleeding energy. So it just help like the flickering of like the very tiny movement. And because we are with a big object, we can just increase that and dump even more, and it will work nicely for us. We keep this as default. We can have like this, and that's all, I think. Let me just see here if we change any parameter. Now, yeah, we can keep like this for now, and then we can just change in the future if we need to. And then we're going to do like a vellum attach to geometry. So let me do vellum attach to geometry. Is this one? So we can just plug these two in, but the second one is this one, because this is the rest of the geometry that we have. Like, so let me grab like a null and say attach geo. So just no, yeah, attach geo. If we select this, you can see what we have. And let me plug that into the attach geo. It comes into the collision, geometry collision. but it's going to interpret that as the geometry that this sail should attach to. So if I select this one, you see that these lines is this constraint and is going all over the place, but we need to tweak a few things. So let me just enable the max distance. So this one, okay, we're going to attach frame on frame 48 because it's there where we started our animation. So let me go to 48 just to see. This just means like where the animation you actually start to really animating it, and because we're going to render from 72 is good. So that's the frame that is going to attach to. And then we also need to enable the max distance. This is key for that. What I want is only 10 centimeters. Oh, sorry, this is 1 meter. I mean like just 10 centimeters. What means like if you can see this, everything that is just like 10 centimeters from this is going to be attached. And I think this is really good enough for us. So you can see that is attaching all this in here, and all these are attaching because we don't want this to fly all over and it's going to be very messy. So it's just like a cheap trick to have like it's we don't want any sliding rate, and we can also decrease the damping ratio in this, and I think we're going to leave this as is. And now for the Vellum Solver, we can start on 48 as well. So we just let it flap a little bit before, like a little bit of pre-roll as well. So let me just do a Vellum Solver. All right. So the Vellum Solver, I'm going to start frame 48, and we can just connect the three inputs there, and let's start defining a few things. So the time scale I want to keep, all this we can keep as default. And then if you have like your own simulation, if you bring your own geometry, of course you need to play with the numbers a little bit. Like if you see that it's becoming very unstable, you can just increase the substeps and also the collision passes. Like it all depends on the stability of your simulation, but yeah, for now we're just going to use that. On the forces tab, we're going to keep like as is because we're going to do the forces in another way. And in the simulation, yeah, we are all good. So if you double click here, you can see that we can have like, we can add forces. If we double click inside, you can have like forces and force. So what we want to do is to add like a pop wind, and you can use the forces, the pop, all the pop type of forces, they are compatible with Vellum, so you can just attach that. So I'm going to do like a pop drag, and this one I want to just get like velocity of 8 and 8. So it's just the wind, the same one that we've been working, and a little bit of noise as well. So not pop drag, sorry, I'm using the wrong one. I want the pop wind. I was okay. So we want 8 and 8, and a little bit of like, not a little bit, but like a consistent like amplitude of the gust variation, and a bigger swirl size like that. And yeah, that's good. So now what the way, instead of like we have the Vellum IO, so Vellum IO here, and we can just, if you press J on your keyboard and select and link, you're going to link the three at the same time. Just save you a little bit. Let me call this main sail sim. Let's do that like so. This is dollar cash and dollar OS. I don't want to have like this, so this is okay for me. And the frame range, I want to start on 48. Can go all the way to 240, or we can just clamp to 168 if you feel like, because my animation goes to 168, but you might want to have like it more. And that's it. So we cache this out, and when we come back, I'm going to do like some post-processing for that, because we changed the geometry and we want to have like something different, like the original type of geometry because of the UVs and all that. So we can just play with that later. And then we also need to work on our Genoa, the front sail. Okay, see you there. Welcome back. So here's my simulation. You see that the sail flip a little bit and then go. Yeah, of course we can work that and make it much better, but that's not the main topic of the course. So it's more about the ocean. But I just didn't want to have like a very static sail, so I wanted to have like something. The fact that the sail is just flapping like that, it kind of make a little bit of sense, because if you have a very strong wind, what you do, there is a rope connecting the boom to the boat, and you just normally, like what you do, you release that to give more less pressure on the sail, so it makes the boat a little bit less affected by the wind. So it just, the wind is passing on both sides of the whale because you're going against the wind, and it's kind of like flapping like that. Once you bring this on, the sail should be much more like inflated in general and very rigid, because the wind is just pushing on it. But in this case, the boat's kind of going against the waves and it's kind of flapping. So that was the idea behind, to have like a little bit of this relaxation on this side, because the wind should be coming straight onto the front, so it's impacting both this side and the other side of the sail. That's the idea behind. So let me do an attribute delete, so just that we clean a little bit of things. I want to just delete all the vertex and primitive attributes, because if we hover it, you have the UVs, you have everything coming in, but it's a little bit not the proper one. So I want to just like freeze frame. Now we need to do like time shift, and so we can copy we can do some UV transfer and do a couple of things. So I'm going to keep that as to 48. That was our starting point, and I want to copy this, and this one should come straight from the sail itself. So now what we have here is the sail with the remesh, and in here we have the original sail polygons and all that. So if we do like a space 5, here you see the UVs, and here there is no UVs, but here you see why I deleted UVs, because the UVs were all messed up because of the polygons and all that we changed, we meshed. So I want these UVs to be there. So what we can do now, we can just do like an UV transfer, labs UV transfer, good. And I'm going to plug this one in here and this one in there. And let me see. We now have almost the same UVs, but the edges are not quite the same because of the amount of polygons, but it is going to work pretty well because the placement is on point, you know, like wherever the sail is really good. So, but what we did, we transferred the UVs to this geometry, right? But it's freezed. So if I come in here and place, like, nothing is going to change. So we need to do like a point deform. and we're going to plug this one that is going to deform, and this is also the one that's in rest because it's not moving. And then we can bring from here the animated geo, right? So we can do that. And now if we play, we're going to have the animated sail in the geometry. And it just like, if we come back, it corrects UVs and the movement is perfect. And you don't need to play with any of these parameters because in this case it's exactly the same geometry. If I would just pick up, for example, the original sail to move that, and this one should be the attached one, it's kind of like very stiff, and you need to start getting the radius like bigger and maybe increasing here to 100 and here to 500 to have like a little bit of something, and it's still not really working as we would expect. So oh, actually, like if you just come to, I just make like that's not what I wanted to do. So what I want to do, like I want to do a point-deform, and I want to deform the original sail, so it's this one, right? This one is the one that I want to deform. And if I grab like this guy is the rest, and this one is the one that is moving, you see now I have like the original sail and it's being moved by that. But you see that we're starting to have like a little bit of artifacts that we can maybe increase that to 10 and solve a little bit of that. Might work like maybe 50 and maybe 150. But is it in the exactly same position? Yeah, it is. So you can also do like that, but it might give you some errors further down the line if something goes off with that. Like it's, yeah, it's working. I would say it's fine. It's just like if I just go to this one. No, this one is not the one that I wanted because this one should be this, and this one should be this. And now if I go, yeah, they're roughly in the same place. Like some areas is a little bit different, and it might give us a little bit of problem. Just come in here. Yeah, it's almost on point. Actually, this one is just like too much, so I'm going to do like 50, and here's 0.25, here 0.25. Start to give us a little bit of trouble there. This one is a little bit messier. A little bit more on point. Yeah, so you can do the two ways. You can do the UV transfer and point-deform this main chain, or you can use this one, the original mesh, and you point-deform based on the simulation. All right, both of them are going to work. We have like the correct position for that. And I go like actually with this option here. So we can just place like a null and in here. And also there is one thing missing that I forgot to do. That is the animation of the boom, because the boom can open and close, you know, like let me just do that here. So let me do out main sail. Okay, so the boom, here's the thing, like in our HDA, I enable the boom rotation, so it's possible to do that in here. So the boom is this, and what I'm doing here is like if I can rotate the boom, we need to just like go and say like minus 19, and yeah, it open up the sail, and it's kind of like, and you can animate this a little bit, and the lines are going to stay, and this is going to be transformed correctly until like some, if we just play too much with this value, it might change a little bit. So yeah, let's keep this as like a little bit like that, and maybe in here we can come to 15, and then here 15, and then here 18, and 19, $15, and here we can start with 0. So start with 0, and then when it comes to here is already correctly, and we need to recache that. I forgot, but it's not like it's a very fast sim, so it's quite okay. That's all you need to do. Yeah, just before you cache, I just flipped that, so I need to go in here, and instead of doing that like for this side, we need to do the all positive, because we mirror the both here, and I forgot that, like, so the position is not that. So I'm going to just go in here and change all to positive before we do cache. Alright, now we can cache, and in the next lesson we work on the Genoa. Thank you. My final animation for the main sail, and let's just grab all this. Let's place this on 48. Let me disable the simulation, and I'm going to just grab everything out and drag, and let's change the color. This one can be like this, and then we can say Genoa. This one can be here, or you can have like another one here, just to be organized. Okay, this time we need to do a different selection, of course. So let's go in here and say that we want to, let me delete all, and let me select. And what we need to select is the Genoa. So we want the Genoa. We also want the Genoa Adrissa, the Genoa Left Hope. I think everything related to the Genoa. I think we can do like a material path, and like that. Let me see if it works. Yeah, we have, yeah, it worked. So we're selecting everything related to the Genoa. You know, like we have like these rings, we have this main cable, the stay, you know, like, so I think we have everything. I don't think we need this, the stay, I think, for the attachment, because what attaches is the rings, so we don't need that to attach to it. So I think we can just keep without that. So I'm going to do just like a blast instead of doing that, renaming everything. I'm going to do a blast. And just for you to know, like, what that means is that like anything that comes before the name Genoa and after, it's included in this selection. And for this one, I want to delete the Genoa state. This one, yeah. So this one, no. And now we have everything selected. For this, what we want is not that. So let me just select. We just want to select the Genoa itself. Genoa, yeah. Everything is the same. We can just come in here and I don't know. I think for the Genoa we can set like that to uniform. I'm going to make it different. I'm going to get like to uniform and a value of 15 is good. It's going to give us like more strength because the points of holding are more is not like the whole fail attached. I want to have like some stretches in here, and the uniform geometry allow to have a little bit more consistent in this area. So I'm going to do that, and let me say if we're going to change anything in here. Now we can have like I want to go to the cloth and I want to increase the stiffness for the Genoa. Also related to these points, that's the reason why. And oh, not this one. This one we want to keep like the bend, but the stiffness I want to increase, and we keep like everything the same. The attach, this one we should not change. It's all the same. The max distance we might need to change here. Let me just see if we need more distance. Yeah, we might need like the max distance to a little bit bigger. Yeah, so it just have a little bit more constraints around these areas, and we keep that as is. The wind we can keep the same. You could do like another simulation for that hopes, but the pressure in this one is going to be more pressurized, so I'm going to keep it stiff, and it's all good. For that solver, I can enable that, and it's a 48 frame, and we're going to keep also everything the same. We won't change this. Yeah, we keep it as default. All this good. The same wind that we have in the other one, so it's also consistent. We don't need to change that. And the name I need to change, so this is the Genoa sail. Genoa sail theme. All right, I'm going to cache this out, and then I come back and just double check the process on that. Just see you in a moment. Load from disk. Yeah, it's working. You see the points attached give like this look to it, and let's see how deformation goes. Quite on point. So this one looks exactly in the same position. So let me just visualize this, the connected, to see how it goes. And yeah, this one is a little bit off, but nothing that we can really see. And how is these attachments? The attachments looks correct. Yeah, almost off, but I think they're good enough. Like if we make these a little bit less points involved, they're going to be a little bit more deformed. these areas, so I'm going to keep like that to 100, and maybe that to 20, just to influence more points. And the radius, maybe we can increase that. Let me see. Yeah, this one is a little bit off. So if I make like 10, if I make this 50, make this 10. Then general is a little bit off. Some point it just got like a little bit detached from that. It's good. Like if you see like from the camera perspective, we don't need to do a lot of refinement on that. Yeah, you see it's all attached and it's looking correctly. It's good. It's not we need, like, we might need to increase the stiffness of the vellum attach in here. You can increase the stiffness so it doesn't allow it to go much beyond that. You can add more points to more constrain, like you can remesh the sail to have like more, but I think it's working pretty well. And also this one out Genoa. All right, we can just now we have the simulated Genoa, we have the simulated mainsail. Everything looks good. And next is, of course, we need to bring this to the render as well. But what we also need to do is to create the rain system and the mist. The rain, I would say, like, is rain, but it's more like particles coming flying from the ocean and the splashes in the oceans that just come across in front of the lens of the camera. And that's going to be next. Thank you. We are almost there with the main shot.